I'll admit it here and now. If you've watched all the way through my rambling about this, then you're probably not actually the demographic that we primarily designed Revo for. Sorry, where were we before Doggo got dropped?
It was all about the nozzle changing on the Revo and how easy it's made it. I don't think I don't think the overall consumer market, and I'm going with the people that have not used an E3D. I don't think they're ready. I don't think they're ready for how easy this is about to become.
Right, and there's almost this like uncanny valley where you'd give like people too much power without like responsibility and defending them from themselves, right?
Right.
So if you give people the ability to change nozzle, you also have to give them the ability to know which nozzle is in the machine. Otherwise, they're gonna, right?
The dots were pretty rough. They were pretty rough.
But the dots are like,
you worked with what you could do.
Yeah, they're quite cost efficient. And again, like, you know, let's not like beat around the bush. Like a huge amount of the reason why 3D printing has exploded is because of the dropping cost of entry for getting into the hobby. And a lot of people go on to then like get bitten by the bug and do great things, but getting that like cost of entry, and for a lot of people, cost is one of the, you know, primary factors. 3D printing is an expensive hobby.
It is.
And so like, I'm not ashamed to say that like we spend a lot of time optimizing our products for cost. Like cost and user experience, like the two like primary things that we like are trying to optimize and improve on. We don't really believe that our hot ends need to change dramatically in terms of performance by what you would call like a, you know, most performance metrics.
Right.
I think that there are some, you know, decent improvements to come in the areas of speed. You know, after Obsidian comes out, like there's not really gonna be like Obsidian is again like, can we take like all of the, you know, features that we want and put how far can we push all of the like fitness functions, but we still can't be charging people really anything much more than a Nozzle X, because I think that you know, a Nozzle X and Obsidian are really too expensive to be like a. In the future, I want like every nozzle to be an Obsidian. Like if we scale well enough, there is absolutely no fundamental reason why that needs to add more than like some amount of pocket change. Because this is the nice thing about check heat break's not going to extrude on the floor. Sorry.
It's all good.
You need to extrude. No, you don't need this.
I just love that everything about your dog is just 3D printing terms. It warms my cold heart. It does. I kind of agree with you on. I would love to see, and it's like when I buy hot ends, I'm buying golds, right? I'm buying V6 golds. I think the Titan came in a gold for a little bit there. Titan Arrow came in a gold for a bit. You know, I'm buying those because that is titanium, copper, hardened steel, and it's got that nice fancy anodizing on the heat sink.
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, hey, I like it. I think it's fun.
People, like, and again, the gold package is like, without you having to go and do too much research, it's fairly obvious that like this one over here that's gold, this is how I pay some extra money in order to get some extra performance or peace of mind, and I know I'm kind of getting the there is to go around. And you kind of, like you put some big virtue signaling gold on there to like make it extra ultra obvious, but it means you don't have to go and like learn like, oh, thermal conductivity affects this and thermal mass, and then the product of those two gives you and that's like one of the things that affects the ultimate through flow rate of your like honestly, like if you're expecting like users in the future to know anything about thermal conductivity, then that's it. Like you lost them at thermal worth. Like
yep.
And why, and the like links between it. So Obsidian, and when we eventually make an Obsidian Revo, which is not exactly a huge secret that like obviously we're going to be making an Obsidian Revo down the line.
That was a question that was asked, so that checkmark answered.
Like, oh, what a great idea! Why didn't we think of that? Why would we not be doing that? Like, no, the reason why it's not there a lot is because you don't want to create unnecessary dependencies between your projects, right?
Right.
Because what if one experiences a delay and then the other doesn't come through, and then like, so don't introduce dependencies, develop them as technologies independently, and then once they're mature, and then you can start like flipping and cross-pollinating and doing all that good stuff. That's why it's like that and in that order, and that's why a launch for what I hope is a very, very brief to zero period of time, there may not be Obsidian Revo nozzles, but like, yeah, it's coming. But the philosophy that we have there is we weren't actually like, yes, we actually ended up with a material that's almost as thermally conductive as you can, as like it's not quite as conductive as like oxygen-free copper, and it's certainly not as conductive as silver, but in terms of practical engineering materials, it's like 90% of the way up there.
Now come on, Sanjay, where's my silver nozzle? What if I want to make things to go after vampires here?
Well, the problem is that silver isn't strong enough.
No, it's way too soft.
And so you actually, it's not like I haven't looked into this. But,
like some sort of silver alloy?
Yeah. So you, but there are also like nickel silvers, and this is a whole other rabbit hole. No, don't do that.
I won't. That can be a talk for another day.
Yeah, that can be a talk for another day. It's impractical. Don't do it. Slice engineering, like it's just, it doesn't work. All right, Danny. So
Dan's pretty local to me. I mean, he's about 2 hours north or so, and I have to go visit him. He's on my list of companies I need to go visit when I'm able to travel again. But Dan and I have also worked together on a few different projects. So
Dan and I actually we get along really well. I'd say we're pretty tight. Like we go and have a beer with those guys. Like I think that it's, yes, we're competitors,
but it's healthy.
But we're also kind of not. And I think we view each other as sportsmanly competitors. I was really impressed when Chris Montgomery stood up and gave credit where credit is due. And when, I go up and do a full technical talk at some point when we launch Revo and go through all the fine nitty-gritty details, credit where credit is due will be given to Slice for being the first people to do some of the things that we're doing in Revo as well. I'd say that we have a respectful sportsmanship attitude to competition.
I mean, and that's ideally where you want to be, right? Everyone's got their eye on each other, but we're shaking hands behind the scenes, right? We might make some jokes here or there about the other guys doing this and that, but at the end of the day, it's an inside joke that if you don't understand the relationship, you're not gonna get, and it's gonna create all that fun little Twitter drama, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely not looking at Joseph Prusa for that one.
And like I'm gonna get Dan back for spring hot end. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll got something in the works. So, what is it? 3 times faster than springy hot ends?
You know what? I saw that spring and I'm like, they've solved a problem that I didn't think was an issue until I saw the Revo. The spring solves so many issues with that.
The spring was something that I was like, I hate this. I remember proposing it to Rory in the car, who's head of engineering on the Revo project. And yeah, Rory and I, we ride share home, and so we talk about hot hands a lot in the car because we're really interesting people. And that's what we like to talk about. And I remember proposing the spring as like, oh, I kind of hate this idea, but tell me why this wouldn't work. And it's one of those where you're kind of like,
it takes a little bit.
Well, okay, actually, it's kind of elegant because it does the preloading. It stops the thing flying away. It's like it's a predictable, but it doesn't over-constrain the system because you still have it's a compliant 6 degrees of freedom. You get translation in all 3 axes and rotation about all of those 3 axes.
Right.
So you never end up with an over-constrained thing. So if you want to, heat rate's going to extrude, but it means that because and this is the dealio, right? You're like fiddling around blind underneath your printer with this nozzle thing, and you probably can't get your face under there, or you don't really want to do
you just I'm imagining hot plastic, right?
Yeah, you want to just be able to go and essentially, this sounds kind of wrong, but you're essentially be able to feel your way around into it, sliding on up, and
right.
You should be able to kind of without it being perfectly aligned, if the heater block, and it means that you can feel it. It's that only single springy thing, and it feels, like it's silicon, so you know where you're going.
Right.
It's a central. You're aiming for the center of a round object, so it's not like an offset in a rectangle. And so haptically, and as soon as you get one end in there, it then sort of starts to self-align, and you feel it to the other. And I'm making it sound more complex than it is, but it's those finer details of what's the user experience of changing this, because you're blind in effect and one-handed, because there's no space for more than one hand.
No, there really isn't. And of course, when it's at 300C, you're starting to sweat pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So everything starts to get slippery. If you've got a nice T-handled nut driver or a good nut driver, that's okay. But the pressure with the pliers to not break it. Yeah, the Revo really does solve a lot of those issues. And when I first saw it, I said, "Oh my gosh, the spring, that's going to take care of any preloading dealing with the heater to the nozzle." What I didn't realize, I think I realized it in the middle of the video, and we might have cut out that obvious surprise, because I get some comments sometimes that my reactions are fake, and they're not. Sometimes I have to film twice because I'm like, this was way too animated. I'm going to catch hell for this. So let me just dial it back a little bit and be a little bit less of me. I'm pretty sure I went ballistic when I realized, wait a minute, the screw or the spring is attached on both sides. That means that I'm never going to end up having a thermistor be the thing that holds the entire heat block up. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And with it being a one-piece system, that makes life quite a bit easier. I think the only thing I was worried about is if the connectors are the same, people being idiots, and plugging in the hotbed. They're not the same, are they?
No, they're the same.
They're the same. Okay.
Do the maths.
I mean, if I try to put 24 volts through a thermistor, it's not going to have a great day.
No, it'd be fine. Do the maths.
It would be okay.
Yeah. V squared over R.
Yeah. Because the
fine.
resistance of a thermistor is so high.
Yeah. So the TDP is what you're looking for. The TDP needs to be not more than like a watt. So it's totally fine. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work, and then you go, oh yeah. We have some other tricks along the way for that. But
I'm looking forward to seeing those because
everyone says this because like you're immediate like that's what I thought too. But like we can't do that. The missiles are explode.
It's exactly I'm like this is going to end up with a lot of people getting pissed about their thermistors exploding, but no, because there's such a high resistance, you're not going to pass a lot of current.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't do the damn slightest. Yeah, it's totally fine.
All right, I gotta get. I'm gonna. If I can pre-order a Revo, I'm gonna pre-order a Revo, and I'm gonna do a video about this. That nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, don't worry, everyone. Nobody panic. It'll be fine.
Oh, that is pretty great. And the name Revo, it's revolution. It's short for revolutionary, right?
No, it's about the way you revolve to change.
Ah, okay.
And it's revolutionary. It's like good market wang, you know.
Hey, I like it, you know.
Yeah, I like it. But it's Revo because you revolve the thing to change it. And so it's like in the future we'll probably have different and hopefully like more elegant, not inherited technical debt from Hemera heat break ways of changing nozzles, but we don't want to like just obsolete and like ditch backwards compatibility. And like Revo is a system that is here for the long haul, but you know, you can imagine that there might be like a rapid change snap in the future, let's say, that like snaps into place, or like pop, click, snap, crackle, pop. Yeah, I don't know. I leave the marketing to Georgia. She's very good at it. And
I need to get me a Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's amazing. She does all the. Have you seen the new website? Oh, it's so pretty. Sorry, I'm gonna have
gorgeous.
To take the break out to extrude.
No problem.
Jeez. The idea is that, like, I guess, kind of slightly inspired, actually, talking of connectors, by Molex. So Molex have the Fit family of connectors, and you get Mega Fit, Micro Fit, Nano Fit. Sorry, it's getting really dark.
It's all right.
I've also had electrical failures in the house because the water leaked and then the electricity.
Yeah, those two things aren't the best of friends, are they?
Yeah, well, they are in my house. They've been sleeping together and giving each other STIs.
Oh, well.
Sorry, that don't go out. So, yeah, if you like, you know, go Google the Molex Fit family, subfamilies, right? So rapid change. But it's like a very functional, Revo is meant to be like a very functional name that is immediately relatable to its like way of changing, and it's like what is this? And this is all about that like user experience centered.
Right.
Sorry, have I dropped out of Wi-Fi?
A little bit there, but you're all right.
Yeah, and so this is about that like user experience centered designer. That goes even right down to the naming convention, because you want people to know that like, oh, mine's the Revo one, because if in the future we have rapid change snap, you're gonna kind of, do I have a rapid change Revo or a snap? And like, can explain in a single diagram, like, this is the one that Revo revolved to change, and snap snaps in, or I don't know. I keep saying this snap thing. It's going to create a rumor that there's a product coming out called Rapid Change Snap, which there isn't. It doesn't exist. I made it up like 10 seconds ago.
I'm going to edit out the part where you say it's not real just to piss me off.
Oh, dear me.
No. I mean, so what's...
They've got a mind of her own now, and the lights back on. Head back upstairs. She wants to come wait. She's very welcome. Sorry, dude. I don't mean to screw up your thing. I just don't want the dog. The name Revo is not just because it's a Revolution marketing name. It's meant to, because it describes the way in which it changes. It's a genuine trying to assist the user in knowing what parts to buy and what thing to Google. Because mine is the one that revolves to change, so you can associate that with
right.
the Revo brand name. And so you have some sticker that says E3D Revo compatible on the front of your machine, and you go on Amazon, you type in Revo nozzle or whatever it is, it pops up, it has the same logo that's on the front of your machine that says Revo compatible, and it says Revo compatible on the thing. You're like, this thing goes in there, this working with that, because that's the maximum degree of complexity that, I mean, if I was buying printer ink, and I mean, they do this with printer ink, right?
They do.
Name them animals or something, so that it's really easy, different, they have one that's got a picture of a bird, one's got a picture of, I don't even know, but having these very clear, distinctive visual and word associations that are also related to the function and how the product works is there to try and create a user experience even during the buying purchase, so they don't accidentally purchase a V6 nozzle or a Hemera heat break, or maybe if you are an expert and you want to use those parts to create a compatible system, you actually can. But the point is that people have they see Revo compatible on the machine, they see Revo compatible on the shelf or the Amazon Prime buy box or whatever platform it is.
Right.
That helps them make it buying choices that are going to result in a functional system at the end of the day. This is why I find it really interesting to watch how some people are underwhelmed and some people are minds blown, and who those people are and why there's things up. Because you know what, I'll admit it here and now, if you've watched all the way through my rambling about this, then you're probably not actually the demographic that we primarily designed Revo for.
Right.
We think that you're going to love it, and we think there's going to be a big improvement, but all of the casual user proofing, we'll call it, all of that's been put in there in how the product's described, how it's colored with different tip socks to color code them by size, and all of these things have been done with the kind of user that goes on and buys a $250 machine off Amazon Prime. Because what if in the future, every single $250 machine off Amazon Prime, with a simple nozzle change, you could be cranking out nylon reinforced with carbon fiber parts?
I don't know if I want a $250 Amazon special to do that though.
Right, but in that future, it's probably not that $250 Amazon special that you know and hate. Right, it's in a time moved forward where
right,
maybe we've managed to take something that is performance of one of those printers that you love to use, and you've got that same degree of reliability and so on and so forth. It would just moved on, and so that has come down in cost. And so that's the future that I look forward to, and that's the future of what Revo is kind of built to try and do.
Well, I think the brilliance in the marketing, it was clear to me that, like, I am not your target. Your target is the people that are hesitant to enter the industry because of all these other issues. That's your target. I was going to buy one whether I was
like people who didn't know that nozzle changing was a thing until now.
You don't want to know how many times this has happened, where people bring in printers, and I'm like, why are you running glow-in-the-dark filament with a brass nozzle? Oh, well, it says it's brass nozzle compatible. I said, yeah, everything is brass nozzle compatible for a very short amount of time. Yeah, I mean, that's the case where I'm like, just go buy a Revo, stop it, do not argue, go buy a Revo, install it, come back, and then let's talk. And the price point is phenomenal, right? You know, coming with all the nozzles, or 4 nozzles, amazing, right? And as someone that would love to experiment more with different nozzle sizes, but just absolutely hates changing nozzles, I don't do it. I do not do it. All of my printers run 0.4 because
I've got to admit,
it works.
Until Revo, it was the same kind of for us.
Like why change? It works.
It'll take twice as long to print, but like, what's the difference between 6 and 18 hours or what? Like,
it's still overnight, right?
It's like let it rip.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that this was another spec point, is that it has to be easier than changing filament, because what we want to create is, for every print that you do, you go through a conscious set of choices, and it's like, what material should I use? Which printer maybe do I use? But like, it's basically material and then the time resolution trade-off and strength.
And now I get to choose nozzles.
Right? And now it's like every time, like, and imagine this like all the way from the like conception of I see a problem, and just like you would with if you see a problem and you have a milling machine, when you start to design that part, you would probably design it around a specific cutter, and then never draw a feature. You'd never draw a slot that's less than like that. So you never do it. And much the same is true for 3D printing. And so if you see, a problem, like I need to hold up this shelf, and so you do a shelf bracket, and you're going to go, well, I can DFM this thing so that I design it for manufacturing within the constraints of a 0.8 or a 0.6 nozzle, then I can crank this thing out really fast.
And it'll be much stronger, of course.
Be stronger, faster. And if you design parts to be within those constraints of those nozzles, you actually end up with really beautiful parts that come out 0.6 and 0.8 nozzles. Despite the lower resolution, it doesn't mean that you have to have a dirty, inaccurate part. It's not like when you're using a milling machine that the size of the cutter is inversely proportional to the quality of the part.
Right? You
can still make ultra precise parts with a 6, 8, 10, or 20 millimeter or greater larger end mill and get beautiful surface finish and tolerances. But you're never going to be able to cut a 3 mil slot with a 6 mil cutter. So if your problem doesn't require any more resolution than that, then...
And there are plenty of cases, even here, right, where we get a job and it's like, man, if I could just change out this nozzle, I could get this done in half the time. I'm like, but then I got to change out the nozzle. And if I don't get the torque exactly right, she's going to leak. It's going to look like crap. And if I over tighten
my nozzle spanner.
Oh, well, of course the socket just dropped, but I keep that actually handy. That's within arm's reach at all times. More because we are opening back up to be, a repair shop for machines. Yeah. And they're never running E3Ds. I'm sorry. They're always using these these janky hot ends.
Yeah,
hate them. Garbage. But
in the past, I think until Revo, impetus and reason for those people coming in with those problems to you for changing it to an E3D product may not have been great enough, and you would probably maybe buy like for like replacement, or maybe in a pinch some other aftermarket compatible like thing. But my hope is that now in the future going forward, and hopefully we can, you know, have if we don't design it, I'm sure that someone else will create a Revo sync that goes on, you know, those platforms and has that form factor, and still has that cooling, because we're going to open source all of that stuff on the cold side.
Yeah, the cold side. Yeah.
So that people can, as well as, you know, the like useful information about the standard that's necessary, like the overall length and stuff, so that you can actually, like, you know, usefully, like, the information is useful to our customers, just not useful to people who want to, like, you know, leech and freeload. It's an unfortunate situation.
I'm glad the industry took patents as well as they did. I can't say I wasn't worried, right? You know, when Slice came out, you know, out of the gate with patents, they were instantly poo-pooed, saying, you know, you're just the next Stratasys. And I'm like, you can see it coming down the pipes, right? When a company, what has it been, three years or so between V6 and Revo? When you're working that long on a product, is it like 6? Seriously? God,
it's a long time.
I hate time. I love clocks, hate time. But yeah, I mean, so in that time, right, you're not going through all this R&D just so unnamed companies in unnamed countries will knock it off, steal it, and unfortunately, guys like me will go on to Amazon and buy a heat break and heat sink, thinking, oh, it says it's legit, and it comes in, this is not the right color. E3D has never made this color. And I'm still mad to this day about this, right? And I think a lot of us didn't understand the implications. And I think the way that you did that whole thing with the patents is beautiful. And I'm excited for when they do become public, when they're granted, and I can do a video on that and really go through those patents and see what it's all about, because that's impactful.
I'll sit and do a video and like run you through the claims, and
totally, please.
Get like super misunderstood, because like I think that, you know, our patent is going to be called something like, you know, liquefier nozzles for 3D printer.
Yeah, that is like, what it's called. Yeah.
Something like that.
It has to be vague. It's the patent system.
But we've not made our claims vague. They're highly specific to what we do in our implementation. But the name, like, by law, has to describe what class of invention it is.
Right.
Not the invention, but like what class of the invention, because that's, you know, it helps the patent, like that's how they organize everything, right?
Right.
But then someone will read that and misunderstand it and be like, E3D are patenting nozzles. And it's like, no, we're not claiming that we invented liquefier nozzle for 3D printers. We didn't invent all of those, but we've made one of these, and then there's a very specific description. And I really love to not, because this thing gets very misunderstood very quickly.
It does.
On misconception. And I would love to, like, literally read through the patent with you, like, go through and explain explicitly, like, this is what we're kind of saying that we believe that we invented, and have laid some stake to.
Yeah, I mean, that would be impactful for me, right? It's like I work enough with patents, and, you know, we the goal of 3DM is that we help people get to that patenting stage and then go into production. So, you know, we have 4 different patent attorneys that we work with here in the company. You know, so I'm used to understanding, like, all right, yep, nozzle liquefying system. Okay, yep. It's deliberately vague so that it's easy to find, but I'm sure the claims will be specific, because if they're not, then yeah, you know, any flack, if the claims are really vague, then any flack received is well worth it, right? You know, because a lot of us have been burned by the Stratasys patents that locked down this industry for 20 years. And now that they're, you know, back out again, you know, and all that stuff is now in public domain, quite frankly, it makes it easier for people to really make these awesome heated enclosed printers. And yeah, I mean, I trust you guys because I believe that you understand that there is no second chances in this industry. You recognize that if this patent comes out and it's bad, E3D will not be a household name in this industry anymore. And
like
I have
if we put
faith.
it out there as something that we've just ripped off of the forums, then like and what's really annoying, and this is again like the patent system. My God, like some reform is in order, please.
Yeah.
But I can't sit here and talk to you about what we're exactly claiming and not claiming.
Not until the claim has been approved.
I legally can, like, and not otherwise, I make my patent invalid.
Yep. It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd just love to clear all that up and say exactly what we're like saying is us and what we're not, and lay all those like fears to rest. But I can't.
Yeah, and
that annoys the ever-loving bejesus out of me just as much as I'm sure it does most of the viewers watching. And I'm sorry, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Can confirm, right? And I guess I should also put out there, I am not being paid for this interview. There is no relationship like that with E3D. You know, we have been invited to the beta program. I need to be clear about that. But otherwise, you know, you are volunteering for this. I'm volunteering for this. We are not... it's not like this is a paid interview. We are here
I think
to...
I might technically be getting paid. I'm not sure. It's like... But it's
Cat's getting paid. Right? I mean, I'm not.
Yeah,
well, there is no exchange of money between the two of us right now.
No, sorry. Yeah, I just... yeah. I'm getting paid I don't know. I've somehow managed to monetize a hobby, and that's good.
Hey, look, I've been trying to do that for years.
Yeah.
Right? Some years more successful than others. You know, gonna look back at the last 2 years and say, well, we're still alive, so that's not bad. But you know, it kind of is what it is. But
well,
yeah,
the majority of startups, it's like 8 out of 10 failure rate, something like that.
Yeah, you know, they say that 80% of businesses fail within their first 5 years. This is year 5 for us.
Chewing glass and staring into the abyss, my friend.
Yep, year 4 and year 5 were hard mode activated.
Yeah, man. I remember, like years, like until 3 going on 4. That was like, you know, like as my accountant always says to me, it's like in business you've got revenue, which is vanity, and you have profit on the bottom of your P&L, which is sanity, and then you have cash in the bank, which is reality. And like the cold hard reality is that your business runs on cash at the bank, not profit in a P&L figure that, or like, you know, forecasts, projections, or revenue. Like you can't pay your employees with forecasted revenue. Like that's not, you have
Wait,
to.
I can't pay them in exposure?
Well,
damn it.
Don't even. Yeah. Yeah, make me a website. Anyway, you know the game. But yeah.
I know it.
Like, intense times, and like having been there and like been hand to mouth and like, you know, like
you're working 18-hour days because you can't afford someone to help you work 8 hours or 9 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like, I mean, but also like, not all of that's gone away. Like, you know, I still like did a fair number of 18-hour days and weekends in the like ramp up towards, you know, Revo launch and TCT.
That's something that I like about you though, right? you have built a relatively large company, arguably one of the most recognizable hot end manufacturers in the world, right? And yet you are still there, trudging through the mud with everyone, right? There's that picture of a leader versus a dictator, where the dictator's cracking the whip where everyone else is pulling him along. And the leader is the guy up front saying, we got this, let's freaking go. And that's what I like about you, right? You haven't lost that, I'm one of you and I'm doing this for you, the consumers, and I'm one of the team, right? It's like I've debated on changing my title because I don't want people to think that I'm a hands-off business owner. I am like today or tomorrow, thinking of making the change to change my title from president in my emails to general manager, because then all of the sudden it's way less like, oh, I'm talking to the owner. No, he's just general manager. It's fine. My professional title will still say the same. Maybe my business cards will still say the same, but it is a completely different aspect to deal with a business owner who is in it every single day and has a valuable understanding of not just their product but their target.
Sorry, she's a massive pansy, so she's scared of all the builders and trying to hide under the bed.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah, but yeah, this is Heatbreak, the high aspect ratio dog.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I'm all about having pets in videos.
Hello, 3D Musketeers.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I want to give an especially massive thank you to E3D for setting this up. I know, Sanjay, your time is so incredibly valuable, so thank you so much for spending time with me, over 2 hours, so we could just hang out, talk, and get some questions out there, including the one that everybody wants to know: how you do your hair every morning. And no, that was not in this episode. You did not miss it. It's in an upcoming episode. So make sure you guys get subscribed, leave a like, and ring that bell. All right, Grant, that's too much. But ring that bell, that way you know when the next episodes come out of the Sanjay series. I'm calling it now because I can do those things. I also want to give a awesome thank you to our patrons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. And if you want to get your name in the credits like the awesome patrons right next to me, you can do so at patreon.com/3D Musketeers and support us for the $5 or higher tier per month to get your name in these credits. Right below me is going to be the entire series playlist on the Sanjay Mortimer series. So make sure you guys take a look at that when it's all posted. These are going to be weekly postings, so it's going to take a little bit. And right next to it is going to be the hot end breakdown, so you can see and learn all about what goes into a hot end. I will see you guys in the next one. I'm crazy excited for you all to see more. I will see you down in those comments. Take care.